Deuteronomy 28:37, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations whither the Lord shall lead thee.
We're so oppressed. I had a filet mignon tonight with Tyrone on my EBT card. Oh, the blacks are so oppressed. Oh, we're so oppressed. Look at all the fucking money we got from the fucking welfare system to buy fucking lobster tails on your fucking EBT card.
Let's get together in a safe environment and they begin to talk about blacks. If they really are forthright and honest, they will use the term Schwarze. This is a term that today is extremely politically incorrect, needless to say, but it is still being used. It has not died out. In fact, it's almost a badge of one's commitment to the cause among Jews to use this term. And I want to go through here, I want to explain to you what Jews really mean when they talk about Schwarze. Now, first thing we should say is it is not necessarily a negative word. It is not the same thing as nigger. In fact, if a bunch of elderly Jews were sitting around, as is their wont, to discuss the Schwarze, by the way, when I was growing up, this was a great topic of enormous fascination and concern among my parents and grandparents. They could talk about it forever. But if you had inserted the word nigger as to receive some kind of lexiconic variety, people would be genuinely offended. I mean, it is not a slur term. It is not a derogatory term. In fact, sometimes there may be even a degree of affection in it, like, I heard Mrs. Schwartz got a new Schwarze. Ah, how nice, how nice. Okay. The second thing is that when you use the term Schwarze, it always implies cognitive inferiority. The mental picture of a stupid black embedded in the term Schwarze is true even for pro-civil rights Jews. I've had many discussions with liberals, Jewish liberals on this point, and after about 15 minutes you can begin to get down to serious things. And I say to them, tell me, you really think this is going to help, all these laws, all these affirmative action policies and things like that? And you say, look, they're Schwarze. What are we going to do? We have to do something for them. They can't do it on their own. Adding a phrase, dumb Schwarze, is somewhat superfluous, reserved only for the most egregious stupidity. Invisible baggage likewise includes gullibility, emotional excitability, and a weakness for here and now conspicuous consumption. Violence, especially interpersonal alcohol-induced mayhem, is also associated with Schwarze. In other words, if the image that comes to the mind of Jews when you say the word Schwarze is, a rather simple-minded, impulsive, easily seduced by trinket kind of thing, and this, some of you will realize, is extremely close to the traditional Southern image of blacks. In fact, I would argue that it's almost identical to what many Southerners would probably say. Well, that's what they think about when they think about blacks.
Let's keep switching the identity to hide the people. Why don't we just keep renaming you? Are you Negro? Oh, no, you're not Negro. No, you're colored. No, you're not colored. You're African American. And this is what they name you. The slavers name you this. Because I know a white guy who grew up in South Africa. And he now lives in America. He is an African American. And more African American than most. Do you see how African American is a misnomer? It's a misnomer. Don't check that box. It's a title given to blacks by democratic slavers. Let's keep switching the identity to hide the people.
Jeremiah 24:9, and I will deliver them to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth for their hurt, to be a reproach and a proverb, to taunt and a curse in all places whither I should drive them. So this is a sign and a wonder upon the children of Israel. And these derogatory names are only given to the children of Israel. We are the ones that suffer these things. So these are the curses that are upon us.
To get to the topic of the story here, why Africans don't really see Black people as an equal or as, I guess, something relevant. I would say it more so it derives from how Black people act. And this is not coming from a racist view, guys. This is just pointing something out there and bringing light to a topic that has been discussed amongst Africans. So the reason that, I guess Africans can just never see Black people as an equal or good people, I would say it's more so because of the way Black people act. Unfortunately, Black people kind of tend to not act like, Africans. They don't go to Africa. A lot of times they don't travel to Africa to really understand their roots and their actions, their attitudes, the way they were raised. It really kind of plays into fact of why Africans don't want to kind of mix with, Black people. I know in my culture, we kind of refer to them as akata. I'm saying it the American way, it's akata. Yeah, so we kind of refer to them as that in a derogatory manner.
Akata means cotton picker or wild animal. Akata means cotton picker in reference Black Americans who were taken as slaves and shipped to Americans to work on cotton and other plantations. It also loosely refers to wild animal or cat in reference to someone who is uncultured. The slur has subsequently been picked up by other Nigerians and West Africans to refer to African Americans and American-born Africans.
And we don't see them as useful people or, I guess, good people for society. I don't know.
White people says, okay, take me to this one. And the guy goes, okay. I goes, is that in a good neighborhood? He's like, oh, yeah. Guy barely speaks English. He takes us there. We get out, and we're giggling. Oh, we're going to see Planet of the Apes. We walk into Planet of the Apes. We walked into Africa, dude. We walked in the door, and there was no white people. It says, okay, take
the nigger thing.
Yes. Saying the word nigger.
You've already said nigger.
D is just like nigger. Saying nigger. She's calling you a nigger. It's like this boy that he's a nigger, but starts calling them niggers. Word nigger. There should be a word like nigger, especially like the nigger. That's our nigger. About niggers. He says nigger. Guy, a nigger. And then our niggers start saying nigger. Allowed to use the word nigger. Out the word nigger. See nigger. Word nigger. Say nigger, and he couldn't say nigger. And most nigger.
J.D. Milam. And I think this is the most ridiculous thing that has ever happened. The niggers are just as free as we are.
I look like the beautiful Queen Latifah. Love it, it's so Rhoda. New York, this is your last chance. I had no idea how cruel white people could be to us. Oh! I'm sorry, I'm Black today. Forsaken by my own people. This is literally my darkest hour. You were right. It's so much harder to be Black than it is to be Jewish. I'd kill myself if I were Black. Excuse me, miss? Don't worry, I'm not Black. There's nothing harder in the world than being Black. Exactly. Gee, that wouldn't happen to be because I'm Black, would it? You have a problem with me being Black, officer?
Well, yeah, it's revolting.
Oh.
Completely over the line.
Tell the people what you've seen and heard.
Acts 13:1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called nigger.
And I am double oppressed. First of all, to be Palestinian, that's a big problem. But to be a Black Palestinian, I'm quite convinced it will be the hell, because as a Black Palestinian, I am double oppressed. First of all, they oppress me as a Palestinian, you see. Secondly, they oppress me because of my color. Whenever I go around in the Israeli side, they call me Kushi. Kushi means The more they humiliate me, the more they oppress me, the more I stick to my land. Because this is my land. I'm so rooted. We are deeply rooted as...
We are double oppressed. First, as Palestinian. Second, because of our color. They call us Kushi, niggers.
Wow!
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised because discrimination and racism in the Israel society is an ideology. As you know, in the Israel society you have two main groups. The Oriental one, Faradim, the European one, Ashkenazim.
Yeah.
A lot of hostility between both groups. But today, the most discriminated among those various groups are our people, the black Jews from Ethiopia.
Oh, that's right. They're the most discriminated.
Unbelievable the way they treat them. And I know cases of those people already 20 years in the country, still living in convoys, caravans. But if you are European Jew, blonde with blue eyes, maximum in 1 month you will be in a very bombarded apartment.
Oh, wow!
This way, brother. You see, one of the words they just mentioned, Gushi, where they began calling us niggers, sambo. Niggers, sambo.
What's that? They just did it? Who, the kids?
Yeah, the kids. They began saying Kushi, meaning niggers, sambo.
So these kids are taught racism from their young then?
Yeah. They brought them up
to be
racism, discrimination. So imagine.
So we have to just remember the hate that they give us is not by happenstance or mistake. It is because we are the children of Israel. These names was also pinned on us and given to us to cut us off from being a people, which is in Psalms 83. Psalms 83. Keep not thou silence, O God, and hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. They have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and the Ammons, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. So you got the Europeans, you got the Arabs, you got the Chinese, Japanese, and many Africans that are not Israelites that consulted together against the children of Israel. And one was, to cut us off from our nationality. And that's where we get so many different names. Why do so many so-called black people got different names and terms to identify them as a nationality? All these was crafty counsels taken against the children of Israel. The whole agenda was to cut us off from being a people that our name would no longer be in remembrance. So that's why you see that the so-called black people name constantly changed, their nationality constantly changed. We go from black to Negro to Afro-American to African-American to colored girl or colored boy. And whatever other name that they've given us is only so that we would never be able to identify ourselves and to cut us off from being a nation of people. But the Most High said, in the land of your enemies, thou shalt remember thyself. And so we're waking up remembering who we are. So them bywords, these proverbs and astonishments that they made of us, that's not our true identity or nationality. We are the children of Israel, and the hate that they give us is simply because of that. We're God's chosen people, the Most High chosen people, Yahweh. So with that being said, we have to acknowledge our sins, return back to the Most High, and keep his law, statutes, and commandments. Shalom.